So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some RI housing down payment assistance program, as well as, some FHA conventional program that they offer, and all the good things that Rhode Island Housing offers, which now Northpointe is obviously carrying.
Andrew, as you mentioned, Rhode Island Housing is something that, most of it have heard of in the last, 6 months in particular with the $17,500 grant that's very popular in the state. I imagine you have people that have used this program and probably have seen offers come in with this program in the past. So it is something that is relevant. I will say the one thing I've heard is that it will probably be good. I say good. The funds will be available through the end of this year. They're not sure about 2024 yet, but they say they do have enough. They anticipate for the rest of 2023. There's a certain amount of money that was allotted to this program to the state. So keep that in mind, but it is a great opportunity, especially now while it's available. So, the most common program is the $17,500 grant, and this is for first-time home buyers. And a first-time home buyer, this is where it gets a little quirky. Someone buying their first home, yes, they're a first-time home buyer. But if you haven't owned a home for 3 years, technically you're a first-time home buyer again. So keep that in mind. Even if someone has owned a home in the past, you know what? Now you're considered a first-time home buyer if it's been more than 3 years since you've last owned a property. So those are people that will qualify for this program. It's for 1 to 4 unit properties, owner occupied, of course. And typically with this program, one of the most important things is credit score. They do require a 660 credit score. I was told there's a line in the sand. If you're a 659, you don't qualify. There's no exceptions that are made. So keep that in mind. But beyond that, there are some income limitations in the state based on how many people are in your home, 1 to 2 versus up to 4. Typically, it's in the 125 to 140 range. 140,000. So most Rhode Islanders will meet this requirement, but it does, we have to also factor in if you have a situation where, let's say there's a mother, father, and let's just say there's like a 20-year-old son or daughter who lives there. Technically, even though they're not in the mortgage, their income also has to be added to the household income. So we have to keep that in mind as well. But beyond that, it's a great program. It is a $17,500 grant that is not expected to be repaid. It can be used towards closing costs or down payment combination thereof. So it's the most common program. There is another part of this program that most people are not aware of. And this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit today as well. This program has, in addition to FHA, has a conventional portion. And people are like, well, how does that benefit me? Well, let me give you an example here. This market in particular on multifamily homes, let's just say 3 or 4 unit properties. You go FHA financing, 3.5% down. Okay, you qualify on paper, credit score, you have the down payment, you have the income. Well, what happens now? Why are you not qualifying? Well, all of a sudden, there's something called a self-sufficiency test. And I imagine you've dealt with this before, and I know other people have as well. Yep. So basically what this is if the, let's say a 3-unit property, they take what fair market rent is, or if there's no actual, either fair market rent or the lease agreements in place. So let's just say a 3-unit property, let's say fair market is $1,600 per unit. 1,600 times 3 units is 4,800. They take that number and they multiply it by 75%. That number, which will be 3,600 in this case, the new mortgage payment has to be less than that. If it's more than that, even if they qualify in all other areas, the loan is denied. So this is something that comes up quite frequently, I see. So this is why Rhode Island Housing has a conventional program. Now, normally conventional, you think of a single family home, 3% down or 5% down. Multifamilies typically is 20% down or more. Well, in this program, we have a Rhode Island Housing conventional program where they can buy a 2, 3, 4 unit property and they can put down as little as 5%. Why is that important? Well, number one, the self-sufficiency test won't come into play. Number two, that 17.5 can be used as part of that down payment. So I was told, we had a meeting with Rhode Island Housing last week. We had a kind of like a seminar at our branch. They told us that 5% down is required. Of the 5%, 3% has to come from the borrower directly. The other 2% plus closing costs can be used, the 17.5 can be used for that. So think about this. You have a situation, first-time home buyer, it's 5% down. Okay, 2%, 1.5% down more than normal. But then you can use the grant as well. So you can buy a house, conventional financing, 3-family home with 5% down. Only 3% has to be your own funds. So that kind of opens up some doors here when you have a situation where maybe, the prices are very high and rent doesn't always cover the self-sufficiency test. It's a way around it. And I think that's something that our first-time home buyers should be made aware of.